That's not how you want to, as she says, small talk your way into this. Guys, if you're trying to actually get friendly with somebody, the last thing you do is try and come across smart. The last thing you do is trying to come across dumb. The last thing you try and do is come across like an asshole or a nice guy. In other words, the point is this. You're working off what the other person gives you. That's what a connection is about. If you've got it in your head that you've got to sound smart to somebody, now all of a sudden you're going in with a motive. In other words, if they say one thing here, you might then sort of drift around because your motivation and goal is for them to think you're smart. And all of a sudden you can probably sound like you're full of shit. And you're in your head. You're not connecting with the other person. I mean, have you ever just had a chat with somebody and you know when you're sort of like even 2 minutes into the conversation, you're going, Jesus, I didn't think I'd be talking about this. All of a sudden, it just goes south, or north, east, west, whatever way it goes. That's real connection because you're coming from a truthful place. Having a motivation and saying, I want her to think I'm sounding smart. That's total bollocks. That's total bollocks. Yeah, of course you want them to think you're smart. Who wouldn't, right? That's just a natural thing. But you don't go in with the conscious approach of, right, I want to make sure now Peter thinks I'm smart or John thinks I'm smart, whatever. You're putting yourself in your head. You're not relaxing because you're using their answers or questions back to you and then using that to actually edit what you're about to say next. Guy, no. Like, okay, we're going to start off, right? I did a few episodes on how to talk to women. All right, now some of you are thinking, who the fuck are you, Peter? You fucking Mr. Love himself. No, it's not that. Guys, how to talk to women the best way possible. If you are the quiet guy, the nerdy quiet guy, you be the quiet nerdy guy. There's too many people trying to be a certain level of maturity, hotness, intelligence, whatever you want to call it, right? And that's where you fuck up because you're raising the bar so high that all of a sudden you then do start to get nervous or anxious. You just gotta be you. If you're the quiet, nerdy guy, you be the quiet, nerdy guy. And guess what? If you're into women, if you're trying to chat up a woman, guess what happens? A lot of women love the quiet, nerdy guy because you're not a threat. Do you get what I mean? As in, they can feel more relaxed around you. James Bond, so to speak, doesn't always get the chick. Because James Bond can come across as the cocky or confident or charming guy, and there's a girl, or there's a Bond is talking to a woman, right? And all of a sudden women are going, oh, I wonder how many women he's fucking talked to tonight. Or how many women he's had sex with the last couple of weeks. Am I just another number? Now, there's some girls that love that type of guy out there as well. Right? So you've got to be who you are because believe you me, there's plenty of people that love the quiet guy, the James Bond type. Now, I know I'm saying James Bond, guys, but, you know, there is the type of James Bond type of guy out there. You know what I mean. So you've got to work from where you start off with. Because the moment you try and be from the nerdy quiet guy to Mr. fucking James Bond, you're fucked. Okay? It's not in you. That's not you. And guess what happens? You start to get nervous. You start to get a bit anxious because you're feeling a bit scared, threatened by the girl or guy or whoever it is. And then all of a sudden then you can't match up to being James Bond today. It's a lot of effort. You've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Be extremely confident being not confident. I hope that makes sense, guys. So let's move on here a little bit. So she's going on really, but seeking advice actually makes you look smarter. Now, I'll give her that. Right? I'll give the journalist this now. There's nothing wrong with asking people for advice or help or what do you think? In fact, if anything, it helps to build a connection with that person, right? Because you're coming to the table, you're not trying to be Mr. fucking I know everything or Mrs. I know everything. You're actually being upfront, open and honest And the last thing you are is a threat to that person. Because you're being open and honest. You're being, in a way, you're being vulnerable. So I'll give her that. Now, to be honest, I'm not even going to read a lot of the stuff what she's gone on about.